All right. Hi, David. Thanks for being with me today.
Nice to be here, Taylor.
My name is
Great.
Taylor Spaziani. I'm part of the Sexual Health Alliance. Here we have our friend David Prescott, and we're going to be doing a short 5-minute interview to get to know David a little bit better. So, David, would you mind starting with just telling us about yourself and about your career and what you do?
Sure. Well, I've been doing this work now for 35 years, which just never ceases to amaze me. I became a social worker. I wanted to help people. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career, and I ended up in a situation where people said, "Would you be willing to work with people who have sexually abused others?" And thinking at the time that my values and social work values prohibited me from saying no. I thought all human beings have a right and an ability to make a better life for themselves, even if they can never be safe in the community. So I said yes. And it was only then that I realized how many other people would have said no.
Mhm.
And so doing this kind of work across the past few decades has ended up making me, I think, a better neighbor and a better citizen and a better husband and a better father and a better man as a result. But so I've never gone very far. And frankly, what I really prefer doing is working in inpatient settings.
Mhm.
So the more complicated the case, the more interesting. Bottom line, I haven't been bored since about 1984.
Oof. And that's the most important part. So
Yes.
I can really feel your empathy,
Oh,
David. I
thank you.
appreciate that.
Thanks.
A little more personal. What are three of your bucket list items? Top, like,
Ah, it's funny you should ask because I've been doing a lot of thinking just the past few days about exactly this. If I had to name three things, one would be to keep doing this work until I really am too old to do it. I find the work fascinating and I really enjoy it. It's the working in big state bureaucracy structures that drives me crazy, or licensing structures or insurance structures. It's the structures that make me nuts, but the work itself is wonderful, and I hope everybody
absolutely.
takes that as encouragement. The other two things, spending as much time in the woods as I can, out in nature, and the older I get, the more I appreciate meditation. So
Mm,
I have a very solid meditation practice, which I think is how you get through 35 years of doing this kind of work.
that
So,
is a very good tip. Thank you for sharing that with us.
thanks. Uh,
One of our favorite questions to ask here at Shaw is, who is your sexual role model?
oh yes, okay, very good. I had to think about that one for a minute, and I'm thinking it has to be Marty Klein.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, somebody that I know you've had as part of this series.
definitely.
Every yeah, every time I read anything by Marty, he strikes me as a wonderfully reasonable person who wants the best for everybody. Now, obviously, he's got his sort of side of things, but um, the way that he's translated into my world is that this is a guy that sticks up for the underdog, and that this is a guy that also wants the very best for all human beings. And that is hard not to relate to. So I'd have to give it to Marty.
Absolutely. He's very authentic, very
Yeah.
authentic. I love that. So being in the field, what do you think is some of the worst advice you've heard professionals give?
Oh, the worst advice is telling people what they should do, what
Mm,
kind of treatment they should get, who they should be, how they should get better, and most of all, who they should be as a sexual being.
that's
All
so
of those kinds of things. Yeah, they push me to the very edge. And in my work, they're that kind of judgment, advice, or wrongdoing or harm is every place, and very often quite explicit, implicitly as well as explicitly.
right, right. Absolutely. I agree. I feel you there.
Yeah.
So with that being said, at the Sexual Health Alliance, what we do is we spread provocative and radical sex education to all of these healthcare practitioners, therapists, etc. So if you could put your input in, what do you think would be the most important thing that we would spread to our providers? What would be the most important thing providers should know and tell and talk about with their clients?
Yeah. It might be obvious, but for me, it boils down to the single word autonomy,
Mm,
that nobody has the right to tell you, you must or I'll hurt you.
mm,
Whether that be in a therapeutic setting or, heaven forbid, in real life, that no intervention that is intended to help somebody that does not promote their autonomy can possibly be worth the while or can possibly be helpful, no matter how well intended it is. So I would say, without a doubt, it's the most important thing is autonomy. And for those that are viewing this, please don't ever, ever forget how important your support of somebody else's autonomy is.
mm.
Thanks for asking.
Beautiful words, David. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for doing this short interview with us. We really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Bye.